Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Diversity is Lit Book Club. We are so excited to be discussing our September Book of the Month pick, which was Tender Beast by Liselle Sambury. We read a book by Liselle before, too. Beautiful Monsters? Oh my gosh. Delicious Monsters. But yeah, so we will be talking spoilers. So if you read the book, feel free to join in with our comments in the comments. And if you didn't read the book and you're okay with spoilers, feel free to keep watching. If you aren't okay with spoilers and didn't read the book yet, close out, read the book, then come back and join us in the discussion, because we will still be here to for people that watch the replay. We might have a few other co-hosts pop in, but everyone is linked down below. If you don't know me, my name is Holly. I'm the young adult author of A Diamond Bright and Broken, which is releasing in a month. Yes, November 5th, 2024. Super excited. This is a YA epic fantasy with sapphic romance, disability rep, unique magic, lots of secrets and betrayal. So if that sounds good to you, then check out my book. I also like to read pretty much all genres. Interestingly enough, I've been reading a lot of mystery, thriller, darker things. I'm like, I don't want to read any kind of fluffy stuff right now. So kind of on that trend, which fits with the fall theme. So I'm okay with it.
I guess I can go.
Yeah.
I'm Vanessa. Go by Vanessa Read Books on most of my platforms. I am a fantasy paranormal horror writer, editor, diversity reader, kind of all the different hats. So, yeah. All my links are below, so.
Check her out.
Hi, my name is Heather Venkat. I am a YA and middle grade fantasy and contemporary reader and writer.
Yay! Hopefully returning to books soon. Book writing.
I know.
You need to start bugging you. No. Just kidding. So we do have some trigger warnings. We're very lucky enough to get trigger warnings straight from the author. That is on the first page of the book in the author note. So the trigger warnings are death of a parent / grief, animal death, which includes on-page cow and lizard, off-page referenced but not described cat, off-page referenced and somewhat described unspecified animals, mentions of self-harm / suicide, drinking and drug use, infidelity, discussions of toxic intimate relationships, detailed body horror / gore, violence, and death, which includes child death. So that's that. I was really hoping that one of our co-hosts, Teresa, would pop on, because she actually read the book in June and was going to reread it. So I was really interested to see. I think she rated it a 3 out of 5 before. So I was interested to see if her thoughts changed, if she had any new insights. So hopefully if she's not here, then she can pop in the comments later to add those. We can pick her brain about it. But our first question is always, what are your general, oh, sorry, my cat's food is coming down. What are your general overall thoughts on the book? What would you rate it if you give it a star rating on Goodreads? And is there someone who's dying to go first? Har. Sorry. I have bad jokes.
I can go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't think I usually go first anyways. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, go first.
No, I'm just flipping through my notes because I was like, oh my gosh, like I wanted to review my notes before the discussion. I didn't get to do that. But I did realize I usually give my rating on the discussion, and then after the discussion, I'll rate it on Goodreads. I don't know why, but I just feel like I like to do that.
Yeah.
But I would give Tender Beasts a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it, and I know that Liselle is a really strong writer, so I did like her like I just like her writing style. And I thought like the characters overall were strong. I did feel a slight disconnect with the main character, so I think that it was a little bit hard for me to get into, or I guess to kind of like feel super connected to Sunny. I feel like it took me a long time throughout the book. Like at the end of the book, I was a bit more attached to her than at the beginning. But Liselle is an author tuber, and I did watch a video where she goes over the highs and lows and kind of just talking about like, hey, these are the things that happened while I was working on Tender Beasts, and then once it got published. So some of the things kind of make sense a little bit more, but I'm
curious to hear more of that after we hear everyone's thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did feel like it like dragged at certain parts. I mean, I feel like for a horror kind of thriller, like it was kind of on the longer side, which isn't always a bad thing, but I don't know why. Like, I almost feel like maybe it was the journal like parts, like where they go back into the past, that maybe I wasn't feeling, and maybe the pace would have been different if it just kind of just focused on Sunny's point of view the whole time. Like, I'm not really sure exactly what it was, but overall I enjoyed it, and would give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. You want to go, Vanessa?
Okay. So I gave this 4 out of 5 as well. I was going back and forth between like 3.5, 3.75, or 4. I ultimately gave it a 4 because I think I would like this more, which I plan on rereading at some time in the future. But I think it's just right now, I have so much going on that I was not in the right headspace to read this. Like right now, I just want like junk food type books. Like, off my brain, not think about it, and just enjoy the story at a surface level and not think too deeply. And I think this is one that like you can't really do that with this, because there's a lot of layers to it, and a lot of underlying messages that you kind of can't turn off your brain and just do the surface level read. So I think in the future, if I pick it up again, I will probably enjoy it more. One of the things, or one of my biggest issue with it, was like you said, Heather, was the pacing. I also agreed that it kind of dragged on, especially in the middle. And I was thinking about this, and I think because I I hesitate to say that it should be shorter because I feel like the length was necessary for the character development and for the characters to feel real and fleshed out. Um, so I think the length was kind of needed for that. But what I think was the issue, at least for me, that I think is we spend a majority of the time, especially in the middle, in focused on Sunny's internal conflict rather than the external conflict. So we are in her head quite a bit, and I think that's where I was feeling that like, can we pick up the pace? Um, so I think if there was like I think the beginning and the end were pretty strong, and I think that's because there was a bit more balance there between the internal and external conflict. And I think if there was more of that balance throughout the whole book, it might have worked better. I'm trying to think if there was anything else, but I think that was the biggest issue for me. That just not being in the right headspace for it.
Yeah, that definitely affects, how you're enjoying a book. So I was kind of like Vanessa and Heather, where usually I rate the book before the discussion, and I was like, like it's kind of a 3, it's kind of a 4, like still really annoyed that there's not half stars on Goodreads because like it's a 3.5. So
well, there are. I just wanted to say real quick. One reason I haven't been updating my Goodreads as much is because I kind of switched over to StoryGraph, and StoryGraph gives you the 0.5, 0.25, 0.75 rating.
Oh man, that is so nice. You could do 0.25. Oh. I feel like are you able to like export all your like books to?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
That's what I did when I joined StoryGraph. I exported all my books from Goodreads into StoryGraph.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Good to know. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. StoryGraph. One of the things, at least, that gives me some satisfaction of doing the half stars is on Bookmory. Book Mory, and that's where like you kind of have like a calendar view of all the books that you read that when you finish the book. And so I saw it from someone who isn't in my kind of bookish community, just a fellow reader on my Facebook timeline, and I was like, oh, what is this graphic she has? So I like that because it kind of I don't know. I kind of just like having that like overview with the picture of the book when you finished it. Because if I'm like, oh, how many books did I read this month? It's really quick and easy for me to see it. Yeah.
That's cool.
But
you can do that with StoryGraph too. And look at what books you finished. You can specify for the month or the year. And StoryGraph, what I also like is it gives you a lot of statistics as well as to not just like how many books you read or how many pages, but like your average rating for whatever you read for the year or month. It gives you like what categories, how much you read of like fantasy, how much horror, nonfiction, all the different categories.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, and there's like a reading journal. Oh, okay. So I was on this last year because my currently reading were the Louise Ortega Survival Club by Sonora Reyes, The Golden Frog Games, which is book 2 in the Witchling series by Claribel Ortega, and then book 2 in The Curse of the Blessed, This Violent Reckoning by Renee Dugan. So I was like, oh my gosh, this was all what I was reading in June 2023. So I will have to like re-update everything. That's okay, cool. I have fun things to work on now. Thanks. Thank you. But so because the rating is 3.88 on Goodreads, I'm rating it a 3 on there to kind of bring it more to like the 3.5 that I was thinking. And so I don't know if it was because I was like reading it at more of a quicker pace to try to finish it in time, because September got away from me. And so I was kind of just reading it in a shorter time. So I don't know if I was just kind of like, I need to get this read, but there's been books that I have read in like 2 days just because I've devoured it. Like Out of Body by Nia Davenport that we read, I like literally read in 2 days. So I don't think that was necessarily it, but then I felt like it was like, yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just like reading it because I have to, quote unquote. And I was kind of having a hard time figuring out what was wrong. And I think maybe it was a combination of the pacing and the disconnect between Sunny, and then just like maybe like not being as invested, like not really caring. Like I was just like not really, yeah, I was just kind of like, well, I don't really care to know like who the killer is, which is like weird, but and I looked too, and so I'm like, I don't know if this kind of played a part in it, but the genres that are listed on Goodreads, and you know, these are usually the official like genres. The genres they have listed for Tender Beasts are horror, young adult, mystery, thriller, fantasy, paranormal, contemporary, and mystery thriller. So, which is like everything, like yeah, except for historical fiction and romance. So like I feel like maybe that was where there was a little bit of a disconnect too, was that like there was just a lot going on where I kind of didn't feel, I don't know, maybe as grounded in it because of all the different elements. Which maybe I've read those books before and it was okay, but yeah, it was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I did, I did enjoy the reveal at the end. I'm always bad at guessing things. So I think I remember Teresa saying that she guessed who was the killer, or, the killer right away. And I was just like, oh, like, I wasn't thinking about it. I just kind of like am in the moment and kind of like trying to figure it out with Sunny without delving too deep into it. So I did like that because it was like a really cool reveal. And then there still was like a twist within the reveal that I know we'll go into. So I did enjoy that. And then the like gory body horror and the like torture things, I was like, okay, like usually I'm okay, like watching these things, reading these things, but like I was like, oh, okay, this was gore. So it was that was done really well if you like the horror part of it. But yeah, so that's my general overall thoughts on the book.
Did you read it or listen to the audiobook?
I listened to the audiobook.
Okay.
Even though I have a physical copy.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook, and what I have been trying to do lately is listen to things at a little bit of a slower pace so that I can, because I usually speed up the audiobooks like to 1.3 or whatever. And for this, I tried to listen to it slower. Then I found myself speeding it up, and I'm not sure. Again, like you were saying, I'm not sure if it was because I was trying to make sure I finished it in time or what. But that also could have affected it. So I don't know if that was because there have been books we've read for this or books I've read for this discussion where I've like finished it like the morning of the discussion or started it a few days beforehand. So yeah. I don't know, but this one did feel a little different. And I'm not sure if it would change if I read the physical book or not. Because sometimes when I have like these conflicted feelings, I'm like, oh, maybe the audiobook, or oh, maybe the physical book, like trying to swap it. And so maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I I always do both audio and physical. I would have DNF'd if I didn't have the audio. And I do speed up. I sped this up more than I usually do because I'm usually at 2 times speed and was at 2.5. This is dragging too much, so I have to speed it up because of that.
We all were on the same. We were all on the same page really quick. Just because I started on, because I had it on Everand, and the speeds you can't be so customized. But so I had it on 1.2 to start to try to slow it down. Then I had it on 1.5, and then by the end I was at 1.8. So, and I never listened to anything more than maybe 1.55. So.
And I usually don't do anything slower than that too.
So we all were trying to kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, but I when you were saying the stuff before, that reminded me a couple other things I was thinking. One pro is that there wasn't any romance in the book, which I was glad for. She did have a boyfriend, but it was, just for appearance's sake, and there wasn't anything there. And for a minute, I thought the author was going to try to make something there with Jeremy, the brother's Dom's friend.
Yes.
And I wouldn't have liked that, so I'm glad she didn't, and I'm glad there wasn't any romance in here, and they can just stay focused on the family dynamics, which is another thing I thought was interesting, was seeing the family dynamics and like what role each of them pretty much was pushed into by, their mom and also the other siblings in the family, and then also, at school with Sunny having to, have this image. So I thought that all of that was interesting. And, even though I was kind of annoyed with Sunny in the beginning, because she was never honest or actually spoke her mind, and she always had this pleasant, happy, gotta be happy for everyone else demeanor, and she never really stuck up for herself or stood around. Which is so not me, so I got annoyed with her, but I realized I did realize, that's purposefully done to show her character growth later on. So I was okay with it, even though I was a bit annoyed with her at first. The other thing I was going to say was, this was, for me, this was predictable, like Teresa said. The only thing I didn't predict or see coming was the fact that everyone in the family was kind of in on this except for Sunny, which I guess the middles were sort of involved, but not completely as much as Carter and the dad, but I just didn't expect the entire family to be like so.
Yeah, I think that was like a cool reveal that like I didn't realize that like the dad was in on it, and you know the mom. I mean, everyone was in on it, even like the mom from her grave kind of was in on it. And so you know, we thought like, oh, this black clothed person is one person, was just one person, but is actually more than one person, and so I thought that that was kind of clever to maybe make it flip on its head. And something you said before that I wanted to mention or bring up again was I was thinking about how I was really glad that there wasn't romance in it. Yes, that was one of the genres that wasn't in it, because that just would have like bogged it down way too much and taken away from like what the real like conflict of the story was, which a lot of like mystery thrillers add in, and sometimes it's hard to do well. So that was like a breath of fresh air that I think Liselle did really well with.
Yeah.
And so you guys, so did you know that Dom actually did kill his girlfriend Tori?
I kind of went back and forth on that for a little bit, but I was thinking that he was involved in all the murders that were happening, and he just didn't remember, is what I was thinking. I was thinking like something came over him and he just didn't remember, but that he was the one doing everything.
Wow, which was true to an extent.
Yeah. So, especially with like the way things were set up as well, is what made me think that. And then also some of the journal entry flashbacks is what got me on down that path. But so yeah, I thought it was him. I did think the whoever was threatening Sunny, I didn't think that was Dom, because I was like, I don't think so. And that was another reason that made me go, I think he's the killer, but I don't think he knows he's the killer. Because I don't think he was the one that was ever threatening her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I could see, the parents being involved in this. And, after the mom passed, the dad carrying on with this. And it makes sense to me that Carter, being the eldest, would pick up for the mom being gone now. But like I said, I was not expecting Kylie and Darren to be involved until that scene where they try to lock her in a room. I'm like, you guys are in on this too?
Yes. Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah.
I was suspicious that Dom had done it, just because I didn't really have a strong enough, like, other suspect. Like, in my head, I couldn't justify there being anybody else.
Because we didn't see anyone else either.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
I mean,
and I was just like, you know, when her mom's note, you know, was like, take care of Dom, I'm like, it's like, I feel like she knew that like he was going to do bad things. And so right away I was like, he had to have done it. But
well, and maybe, you know, she, like, Sunny could have seen that as like, oh, well, you know, take care of him because he's, you know, been suspected of this murder. But then it kind of comes out that, like, then she was like, oh yeah, Mom thinks that you did it, and, you know, no one is believing you. And
yeah.
Yeah, but then, like, he, you know, because he didn't remember that he did those, you know, that he did kill her, then, you know, that's why he's like, you know, being frustrated with Sunny, saying like, no one believes me, like, you know, you probably don't even believe me. And
which is what convinced me that he wasn't aware, because he seemed way too sincere. Like, I didn't do it, I swear. Like,
yeah,
he was really seemed sincere and convincing. And so, which is, you know, why in the beginning I kind of went back and forth with, okay, maybe it's not him, it's just wrong place, wrong time. But then as we go on and we get more of the early stories through the journal entries, then I was like, okay, he's probably not aware.
yeah. Yeah, and
Which
even
is
with
interesting that is that's another one of those things where it's like, I feel like you kind of have to think deeply about this, but my brain was like, I don't want to. And one of my questions I had was like, I wonder why it affects him differently than the others, because the others were like, they were always aware and awake when the milkman tried to take over them. And so it was more like them doing things that they didn't want to do, but they were always consciously aware, whereas Dom was like passed out and not aware of anything.
Yeah, because wasn't there wasn't there somewhere where it said like, oh, like, even though we have the same, like, you know, similar genetics, like, it affects everyone differently, which is why, like, Sunny is, you know, kind of immune.
Well, is she immune, or because I was wondering how it would affect her if it actually was given to her, because they said that the parents said that they skipped her, like when the demon or whatever it was trying to find who to attach itself to, and they went from oldest to youngest, but they skipped over Sunny.
Yeah, I have in my notes something genetic, but stronger in Dom, not affected, Sunning not affected, but I don't have specifics.
Yeah, because it's because the mom wanted Sunny to take over take over leading the family. I think that's why she never let it go to Sunny.
Yeah, I don't think they really fully explained like why.
But could it? Yeah, like, could it affect her?
Yeah.
I think so. Hold on. I think I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it too.
Let me see.
What's this?
Perfect innocence.
I've never done anything like my siblings had. I still refuse to believe in this. Blah blah blah. Oh, based on what they were saying, I would have remembered if I'd hurt anything. If I was special like Jonas, considering our birth order, the milkman wouldn't have been passed to Dom in the first place. They would have kept him in me if the fit was right.
Hold on. It's on your thing. Okay.
Oh, okay. Dad wrapped his arms around himself. Oh, based on what you're saying, you passed the milkman from child to child. And he said, I was willing to receive the milkman only because I thought we might end it. But as you suspected, I was too old. Though he offered Ainsley the choice to pass him around, try him out, so to speak, in all our children to find the best fit. So we did, from oldest to youngest.
And then later on, though, hold on. I was never tried out as a little calf, was I? So if you go down,
Oh yeah, okay.
A paragraph down. After what you read, they would have kept me if I was the right fit. And then I made a guess and asked, I was never tried out as a little calf, was I? No, you weren't. Mom didn't want you to be, apparently.
Yeah. So yeah. This is page 361. Yeah.
So they never even attempted to have it go into Sunny.
Mom had skipped me. That's the next paragraph, because I was supposed to lead the family. I was supposed to fulfill her role. I knew that was the reason. Got it.
I still felt like that was weird that she was like, her mom was kind of grooming her to kind of take over when like she wasn't the oldest. I don't know.
Well, she said it's because of her ability to always be positive and happy for others, and and you know, kind of put on a smile and keep going. Whereas her older sister she had a quick or short temper and was quick to become aggressive and violent, which the mom was like, you know, the older Carter was kind of like her in that way, but she realized that she needed to be more appeasing like Sunny.
Got it. That makes sense.
Got it. I forgot that randomly was thinking, I forgot like my theory for the longest time. So I was like, it's called Tender Beast. Their last name is Bear. There's this play on the bear. And I'm like, what if they turn into like bears? And then that's why this, you know, they're finding these heads like almost decapitated.
I was thinking that too.
I forgot. Okay, cool. It wasn't just me. I was like, oh, I forgot that theory after the reveal, but I was like, oh yeah, I thought they turned into bears.
Yeah, there was a point I thought earlier on where I was like, you know, are they like turning
shapeshifters, kind of like wolves, and not remembering? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I would have liked that. Like, I did make that note, like the bear theme, how it's like, because she was saying in the beginning how she was describing like, oh yeah, like our house is filled with bear things, like not just little cute teddy bears, but also like grizzly bears and like, you know, more realistic, scary things, where it's kind of that juxtaposition of like, kind of like the cuddly bear that you think of and the deadly bear that you think of, which kind of fits with like the tender beasts, like is obviously the oxymoron. But I was having a hard time like making that connection as to like why that was like, why that was there, why that was played out. Like, was it to kind of throw you off? Like, yeah, you kind of like trust them, like they're the teddy bears, but they're really the grizzly, you know, the grizzly bear type of thing. Like,
yeah, no, that makes sense.
but...
Yeah, that was one of those things where I'm like, I have to think too much on that.
It'd be fun to, see like what were the alternate, like if there was any alternative versions to the book that was changed, you know, from the start.
And if we really think about it, there has to be a reason she went this route and chose to use a milkman, like urban legend type of thing, because she could have, like you said, made it so that, you know, their family has this rare ability to turn into bears, and maybe most of them can control it, but the youngest Dom can't, and he doesn't remember when he shifts.
Yeah.
So she could have done that and still had the same like sort of plot with the murders and stuff happening. But there has to be a reason she specifically chose to make it an urban legend with all the different family connections and stuff.
Yeah, who knows if that was like an editorial or agent revision or something. I'd be so curious to know now.
I mean, she did say that the original ending was very bleak, according to the editor. So she did change it, and she felt like it was more horror initially. And she said that, so when she wrote, or when Delicious Monsters got picked up, the publisher, it was a 2-book deal, but not like not a 1-book, like they're standalone.
Standalones.
Deals.
Okay.
So she said they were kind of hesitant with Tender Beasts, and she said that she ended up reframing the theme of the book, and that made them less hesitant about it. She said she thought it was difficult. She had a difficult time conveying the book in the proposal and had a hard time expressing her vision for the story in that format. So she had to sort of change things. I really want to know what the original ending is and what the theme change was, which I think it was now it's kind of that like the cycle of violence and family, multi-generational trauma type stuff. But like, you know, I really wish that we could know what the original kind of intent was. And
I wonder if, like you said, she changed the ending because it was more bleak, and I'm wondering if maybe the ending was where the Middles had died, and it was just Dom coming after Sunny now, because I thought that's what was gonna happen, and that's where it was gonna go after he attacks the Middles. I wasn't expecting them to survive that.
Yes, that's me too. I was like, wait, Kylie, why are they saying Kylie's name? Like, I was like, I thought she did. Like, I was writing in my notes, he killed Kylie. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, he didn't. Backspace. Like,
Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe like he had killed them, and then that's when Sunny had to come to the realization, oh wow, this is real. And maybe she would have had to end up killing him, because there was a point where she I think held a gun or something to him, and but in the end she decided not to. Even though he understood if she did, he finally understood why, and he understood that he was the one responsible for all this. And I'm thinking maybe that was the ending that was too bleak, which I would have been okay with that. I actually
yeah.
would have liked that ending. Because I'm not that I don't mind this one. It's just this one seems too too unrealistic for everything that had happened so far up to this point.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious and just want to like look up all this stuff, like just see if she's talked about this like on AuthorTube.
I would be interested to know like what her original theme was supposed to be. Like what was the book supposed to be before
Yeah.
having to reframe and change things.
And so what was going on in her life when she was writing it? You mentioned that, Heath?
I'm not really sure what was going on when she was writing it, but she, like, I think she has like kind of progress vlogs while she's writing it that might, something might come up about, in those like months. But the one thing that I think might have contributed to the increased kind of internal monologue and the slowing, those slow parts there, was that she does mention in the video, in the kind of summary video that I watched, that based on initial beta reader feedback, that people were having a hard time connecting with Sunny. She did recognize that her external expressions and interactions differed from her internal dialogue, which kind of created an unintentional disconnect. And so I think maybe she tried to add more of that internal monologue to kind of get us to understand like who she really was. But like before I watched that video, like when I started reading the book, it wasn't like I didn't think that the family should be rich or could be rich, but that sort of made me just be disconnected from her, because like, she's talking with her friends like, oh, what'd you guys do for summer break? And she was like, well, I'm not going to say that I like, we went to vacation in the Maldives, or however you say it, and stuff. And I was like, I don't know, like, and she's like, it wasn't even that great. And I'm like, I don't really like care for you right now. But in the video, she mentions that she made them rich basically because she needed a reason why Dom was able to make bail. Like, that's literally like the only reason why. And then that's where the idea of having the school, they ran the school, it was also like it was like a private school for underprivileged children, but they also attended it. And that to me was weird. I was like, that.
But wait, so hold on, go back. You said the only reason she made them rich was so Dom can make bail, right?
Yeah.
And so are we talking about when he was arrested for his girlfriend's murder or the current stuff, girlfriend's murder? Okay.
They could have she could have written that they got a windfall, like they got some inheritance, like when someone died.
Yeah. It was just I guess just like that dynamic was sort of, I wasn't feeling it. And maybe that initially just made it harder for me to connect regardless of what was happening internally. But I think there was almost too much of the internal stuff to try to make us try to like her and connect with her more. But it almost hurt because then it made things drag a little bit more. So maybe there were unintentional consequences of trying to fix one thing, and then it kind of made another part of the story not as good. I don't know. That's why it's hard for me to kind of pinpoint a lot of the stuff, because I'm sort of thinking about it now too, a little bit more. But
also, I think the thing with that as well is most people, most readers are going to have a hard time connecting with just about any rich character.
Yeah.
Very
true.
Two different lifestyles. And like you said, Sunny, even though she tries to appear humble and not as privileged, it's you can't deny the fact that you are privileged, and people can see that. And so I think anytime you write a character that's rich, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to connect with that character. Unless maybe if I was thinking maybe unless you show them coming from a humble background before becoming rich, and what it took to get there, which she kind of does. She tries to, in a way, with the mom's journal entries, because we see what life was like for them before the dad got the ranch and stuff. But with being focused on Sunny present day, she didn't grow up with that humble background. She grew up privileged, so it's going to be different for her, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people, I think, to connect to her, no matter how nice she tries to appear or perform, which actually, in a way, makes it even worse. Because when you think about the fact that she is doing all this as a performance to appear nice and stuff, then that, I think, makes it even harder to connect, because it's okay, you're not being real or genuine. You just don't want people to think you're a stuck-up rich kid, and so that's why you're doing all this, which, like she says in the book, backfired on her anyway, because everyone at school still saw her as a privileged rich kid. That was pretty much fake.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
Super true. Oops. It's okay, Astrid. Don't scare us in the midst of our things. Were there any quotes or anything that grabbed anyone's attention?
I did not make note of anything this time. So, but I will say I did like their little bear rhyme.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning, the little rhyme for each kid that was added.
I didn't write any down because I usually have a hard time doing that with audiobooks, and this one was too fast-paced for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I bet there were good ones though.
Yeah, there were some. Yeah, I think I like
I forget. I was gonna ask. So the brother died. Jonas died in prison, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember how. Did they say how he died? Like, was it? Did he have the death penalty, or was it just like a natural?
I don't remember.
I don't remember if they said how exactly he died in prison. But I was just thinking, one thing I was thinking is like, okay, if Jonas was the calf that the milkman attached to before, and they said the only way to end it would be to cut off the ties, which means kill him.
Yeah.
So, but if he died, then why did it still move on to the kids? Like, shouldn't it have ended with Jonas? Is what I was thinking.
Oh.
I wonder if it has something to do with like, because the dad was like, "Oh, we have to. This is the last kill. We had the 4 points for the symbol. Like, so did it have something to do with that? And maybe because he didn't get all his kills, then he was able to still. I don't know.
I don't think so, because it didn't sound like that was it for Jonas' case. But because here's what I'm confused about, as they said you would need to cut ties, meaning kill the calf, in order to, be rid of the milkman. However, she also said that it was going to be passed down to, like Jonas was afraid of it being passed to the dad, but the dad said he was too old by then, so that's why it gave Ansley the choice of one of her kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I don't get, because I'm like,
interesting.
Although they did say something about it being tied to the bloodline.
The bloodline.
So I would think I'm thinking, doesn't that mean even if they were to, like, let's say the mom had it, let's say since they were young, it attached to them. The mom decided, better to lose one than everyone, which is kind of what she says.
Yeah.
But instead of doing what the milkman wanted, let's say she just kills them, right?
Yeah.
But wouldn't it just go to one of the others at that point? Because if it's connected to the bloodline, I would think everyone in that
Everyone would have to die.
would have to die for it to be actually gone.
And maybe that was the bleak ending.
It could be.
Because then everyone died, which ended the milkman's reign.
I could see that happening.
I don't know.
Man,
I liked the last two, the last chapter and then the end of the epilogue, because those were the only quotes that, like, I was like, okay, I can remember these. They stuck out. We would take care of one another, page 398, we would take care of one another until the day we could escape, because how could we call ourselves a family if we were only able to be that by leaving someone behind? Maybe that was how Mom and Dad survived, but it didn't need to be how we did it. We weren't beasts anymore. And then at the epilogue, but my brother would live free someday. We would make sure of it. The milkman might be a monster, but we were bears, and he would come to learn that we had claws too. I really liked that ending.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good ending.
Which I like that ending as well, but again, it also raises so many more questions. Like,
yeah,
if there's a way to get rid of it without dying, why hadn't the parents tried that before?
Yep.
You know, whatever ritual that they had found that they tried on Dom at the end, why wasn't that something the parents had tried to be rid of the milkman? Like, why just let it take your kid?
And maybe that's what's hard, like, is like we don't have these answers to kind of like make everything fully connect and come full circle. So there's just kind of still some questions within this mystery, thriller, horror.
And another question that I'm thinking of now within this is like, so how are the, like, the other kids, like Carter, Kylie, Karen, or Darren, like, because at the end, Carter was telling Sunny that you don't know what it's like to do horrible things and not be in control, not be able to stop. And I'm like, but if it's in Dom, if it's in Dom, would it still be affecting the others, right?
Wait, did Carter die?
Yeah, Carter died.
Okay. I was just making sure. I was like, yeah, Carter was dead. Okay.
But she says that when they're revealing everything.
Oh, okay.
And so I am thinking, like, okay, can it be in Dom and the others? But I guess if not, so the incidents I know happened when they were younger. So that was probably when it was passing from eldest to the next one and the next one. But that also makes me think, like, because it makes it seem like it wasn't just one incident with the others. It made it seem like this was something that they still couldn't control even now, even though it was inside Dom. So that's why I'm like, why is it that they have whatever they're calling that they can't control if the milkman is just inside Dom?
I think you found the plot holes, the story.
Yeah,
the things that might not
holes.
have been hashed out, because I don't know if we are supposed to have that answer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you wearing a DIL shirt?
Yeah.
Aw, nice.
Because that doesn't make sense to me that, if it wasn't dumb, it wasn't in the others anymore, unless there's some kind of like residual effect that, but it didn't sound like that
It didn't
was
seem like it. Yeah.
So I don't know why the others
Hmm.
seem like they still kind of have to control the urges, if it's not in them.
I wonder, I know we were talking about Storygraph, but I know on Goodreads, like, you can ask the author questions. I wonder if we can, like, ask questions to try to get.
Yeah, I have questions. I should ask some questions. I was also gonna say, the more I think about this, the more I'm like, maybe there's a 3.75 or a 3.5. Because
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize there's a lot more plot holes than I originally realized.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the bad thing about Goodreads is you can't do the smaller increment ratings.
At least, like, when I do my review, I say, like, 3.5 or 3.75, and then I give it whatever rating, was closer to that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of wonder, like, in a way, I kind of wish Liselle was self-published, because I want to know what the books would have been like without publishers' interference.
Yeah.
With it, especially because with this one and with Delicious Monsters, I feel like while I do like them and I enjoyed them to an extent, I'm like, it always felt like it never quite meets my expectation. Like, I'm expecting something much better, and then it's like, it's not bad, but it's like, just not what I expected, and I'm thinking and wondering if that's really due to interference from publishers. So I feel like it's almost there, but just not quite.
Yeah,
because
like,
I had
there
gone
was
back
this
to see. I rated
disappointment that came with,
because I rated Delicious Monsters 4 out of 5, and I think
Yeah, because I remember
there was something that it didn't hit.
I remember feeling the same with Delicious Monsters, where I was like, I was thinking I was going to love it so much. And it started off really strong and, has some great quotes, but it ended up not being quite what I expected or wanted. And it's like, it's almost there, but just slightly missing the mark.
Slightly off,
Yeah, I wanted to see what I rated.
Oh, I did give it a 3.75, Delicious Monsters. Yeah.
I mean, part of me feels like, it's kind of like the expectations and the execution. Like, sometimes I feel like, do I have too high expectations for, I don't know.
I don't think so.
But
we weren't like, oh my gosh, this is hyped. It's like book talk, everywhere type of thing,
Yeah. I did rate it 4, but I usually don't I'm bad and don't like leave reviews, so it could have been,
No, you're fine.
Who knows what that actually is, but
I think I don't know, and maybe this is more of a me thing, having kind of high expectations of it. Because I remember loving Blood Like Magic, which I still haven't picked up the sequel and finished. But I remember really liking Blood Like Magic, and that one, I think I gave like 4 out of 5. I think. Yeah, 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then Delicious Monsters. So I think I went into that one with, kind of the high expectation as well. Um, and I think I ended up giving it like 3. Yeah, 3.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Could be I'm expecting too much, but I also don't think so. I feel like
I don't think so. I feel like, we've read so many books that like I feel like we kind of we just kind of know like
Yeah.
well, I feel like she's probably capable of more than what publishers will let her do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I think that's exactly it.
could be it, unfortunately.
Well, if being that Liselle is a booktuber as well, if she ever comes across this video, I really hope you do indie an indie book someday, because I would love to see how she does horror without publishers getting in the way.
Yeah.
Make some type of an alternate account and make a fan fiction of that.
That'd be oh my gosh, I'm so curious. Yeah. So we had a really good discussion of Tender Beast by Liselle Sambury. I usually hold it up, but Zuko is currently laying on it. But so please join us for our October Book of the Month pick. More horror. For October, we're reading Gorgeous Gruesome Faces by Linda Chang. K-pop competition goes wrong. Sounds promising. So come join us for more horror and fun. But yeah, we are over on Goodreads, so you can follow us down below. The poll for November, which is either a short read or an anthology, will be up in the middle of the month, so be on the lookout for that. I'll try to pick a little more brighter books for that, since we've had a couple like heavier, just darker themes lately.
I think we should add Frizzy back to the poll for that one.
Oh yes,
Oh.
I would love to reread that.
That's
a good short read too.
And I still haven't gotten around to it, so I'm like,
really? Oh my gosh, yes. And that would be such like a fast, and it was so good.
That's a good one.
I'm like, this book is like the smallest book I've read, and like one of my favorite books. Okay, let me check really quick the November short reads if it's still there. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, I'm kind of excited now. I loved the art and the story. Perfection. Good. Thank you for reminding me. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.